I am giving away an entire master set of paldeanfates to one lucky subscriber. And if you want to win, all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then leave a like and a comment on this video here. Come back on February 9th. That is where we will announce the winner at the beginning of the video. Good luck.
I'm waving. I don't know why, but I'm waving. Did you know we are on 35 consistent days, 35 straight days of content on YouTube? This is the longest it's ever been for me. I have never gone this long. That's why we're calling this the year of Fanny, whether it's been a short or a live or a long form video. We have recorded something every single day for all of 2024. We're at 10% of the way done. That is daunting. That when I say it out loud like that, that seems like we've got a long way to go, and we do have a long way to go. But we're gonna keep at it. We're gonna keep chugging along. Two chuggas. No more than two chuggas. But we're going to keep going at it. 35 consecutive days. What's going on, everybody? My name is Danny Phantom, also known as Fanny Dantump, also known as Fanny Bieber, with the most ridiculous hair in the world. Totally understand. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you took those 35 days, this is such a good segue into what our topic is for today. If you took those 35 days and multiplied them by 1 billion, you would come up with 35 billion, which is not even half, or about half of the amount of cards that Pokemon has printed worldwide. See, that was a great segue. 35 billion is about half of 60-ish billion, and Pokemon has printed about 60-ish billion cards worldwide. Of those 60 billion cards, like 15 to 20,000 of them have been unique copies of English print runs. So like 15 to 20,000 different English cards that have been printed, whether they be holographic rares or commons, or there's like 15 to 20,000 unique variations. So I thought that was interesting because that number continues to climb. Like, we're at a point right now where Pokemon is pumping out, and it's been this way for the past few years now. And I know the pandemic threw a little bit of a wrinkle in there with sets being delayed because of printing issues that were going on. But how many is too many? How many is too many for you? So I ask you guys to do a lot of stuff, and I'm asking you to do something else because I really want to know what your opinion is. So if you can pause the video or just keep listening to it, but leave a comment down below with how many cards is too many. So that's the question that I want to ask is, are we at a point right now where you want Pokemon to go back to how they used to print things? Now, they used to just do like 3 main series sets a year. That was pretty much it. Then they did like 4 main series sets a year. Then they did like 4 main series sets a year and a specialty set. Now they're at the point of 4 main series sets and 2 specialty sets. But before you answer, remember, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So if you go back to, let's say, 4 main series sets a year and 1 specialty set, that's what I think is a good area to be at. You have to go back to pull rates of those days. So the Sun and Moon block, the X and Y block, for example, 5-6 hits in a booster box. Basically, that's what you're going to get, as opposed to the 12-13 hits that you get right now in a booster box with the additional rarities that are out there with special illustration rares, hyper rares, all those additional rarities that have been found. I think the XY era and the Sun and Moon era was like the perfect amount of cards that were being printed. There wasn't like these super bloated sets that had 200 240 cards in it. They were still relatively high, 160, 170, somewhere around there. And then they had 5-6 hits per booster box. That's what you typically got. Now, it wasn't great. Pull rates I wish were better, but it didn't feel as overwhelming as it does right now. We're going to talk about specialty sets in this video and kind of the evolution of specialty sets, because that's really once Pokemon started pumping out these specialty sets. And we're not going to talk about the ones from Sword and Shield on, because I'm confident that a lot of you know about those already. But when the first specialty set, and I'm going to flip you guys around so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. The first specialty set released, Dragon Vault. This was the first time Pokemon had ever really done anything like this, where it wasn't a main series set. It was basically a subset. It was much smaller, and you can see Pokemon really trying to find their footing in producing additional cards that were out there. And we already had main series set releases, whether it be 3 or 4, and that was already a decent amount to collect, right? Like, you were opening packs, you were probably trading, filling in master sets, but it felt doable. It felt doable because you had 3-4 months that would pass that you could dedicate to Plasma Blast, or you could dedicate to Dark Explorers, that you could focus on chasing down the cards that you needed for your set. It didn't feel like you were making this huge investment in these cards until we really got to like the Sword and Shield era, where cards started getting really bloated in price with the alternate arts that hit, the set sizes got huge, and then it became an overwhelming amount of cards that released with the 4 main series set releases and the 2 specialty sets that came out every year. You're looking at 6 releases a year, and that's why you got to the point where it was like Pokemon printed 9 billion cards last year. Now, did they reprint a lot of sets? Sure, they reprinted a lot of sets, but they also had a lot more cards that they had to produce. We recorded a video going over the likelihood of a population of the amount of gold stars that were printed and compared them to the likelihood of the same population in secret rare alternate art VMAX cards. So very, very close. And the reason behind that is because set sizes are so much bigger, way bigger, and set releases are so much more consistent. They're so much more available. There's 6 sets a year, as opposed to when the gold star cards came out, there was three sets a year. So printing a billion cards back then compared to printing 9 billion cards now, while it might seem like there's a ton more cards being printed, and there are, it's because there's a ton more unique cards, a lot more commons, a lot more uncommons. People talk about Fusion Strike being the most difficult master set to finish, and it's not. It's actually Chilling Reign followed by Evolving Skies, because Fusion Strike, while it's a huge set, very bloated set, the biggest set we've had, it's filled with a bunch of commons, uncommons, holo rares. It's filled with a bunch more of those, which are much easier to pull. So bringing your pack odds down, your pack totals down, because you're pulling those on a more consistent basis than pulling the 9 billion alternate arts that are in Chilling Reign and Evolving Skies. So we're going to talk about the specialty sets that released and then kind of get a gauge of where they are in the market. I wanted to try and fine-tune this video more to give information, starting out with the Dragon Vault set. This was the first time Pokemon really took a stab at these specialty sets, and you can see that it was released in 2012. This was the first time. So we're looking at 12 years ago, 11 and a half years ago, if you want to be more technical, 11 and a half years ago that the first specialty set came out. Now, we just had the release of Paldeanfates, and a few months before that, we had the release of Scarlet and Violet 151. It's been a lot. This first one came out in 2012, and there was only 21 cards in the set total. 21 total cards. You look at a set like Paldeanfates, I mean, there's over just 100 secret rares. Like, it's crazy. There's over 100 baby shinies when you compare how things started 11 years ago to where they are now and the evolution that we've had of these specialty sets. It's absolutely insane to think about, because Dragon Vault only had 21 cards. This is the first ever specialty set to be released, and this introduced Dragon Pokemon into the game. This is the first time we had Dragon typing. It was a very, very exciting time for a lot of people. Now, since then, obviously, we've gotten rid of Fairy Pokemon, so we lost out on that one, but a very exciting time to see the Dragon typing come into the game. Only available in 3-pack blisters, so they did not have Elite Trainer boxes for this one. They did not have booster boxes, and it's only 21 cards, so of course you're only going to have booster packs that are available. They weren't loose booster packs, it was just 3-pack blisters, and the difference was it was made up of all holographic cards, so 21 holographic cards in the set. Each booster pack contained 5 holographic cards, and that was it. So you didn't get 11 cards like what you're used to now. You only got 5 cards, and it was all made up of holographic cards. So here's what the blister looked like. This was what was available out there. Obviously, you had the Dredagon promo card there, and then you got 3 booster packs. You would basically be able to collect the master set off of like 3 or 4 of these Dragon Vault, these 3-pack blisters, because there was only 21 cards in the set. So it was very, very simple, but a very cool product that came out. As you can see, the market not performing extremely well on them because of the age, very, very expensive, right? Dragon Vault booster packs, for example, obviously only 5 cards in that booster pack, very expensive for a booster pack. You're looking at $73.20 market price currently. Not a whole lot of sales. There's not a whole lot of comps on them because they're not readily available out there. The supply, for the most part, a lot of it has been cracked, and that's why you have a $73 booster pack, and the most expensive card that you can pull is worth less than just a booster pack. The Kyurem is the most expensive card in the set. It does not have a rarity symbol on it at all. None of them do, because they're all just holographics. They're all holographic cards. You can see this card has fallen quite a bit over the past year. It was at one time over $80. It's dropped down to $62.58, but this is the most expensive of all the Dragon Vault Holo Airs. The second specialty set that we had, and remember, it took Pokemon a while to find their footing when it came to these specialty sets. The Kalos starter set was the second specialty set that was officially released by Pokemon, and it was released at the beginning of the XY era. So you've got November 8th, 2013, and this set a little bit bigger. Pokemon starting to amp things up a little bit. 39 cards in the set, marked the beginning of the XY era, and this was completely different than what they did with Dragon Vault. So trying different things. There weren't booster packs for this one. Instead, this was a theme deck variation. It was a really cool idea because it taught people how to play the game. So there was a trio of theme decks with a regular version and a deluxe version. I believe the deluxe version even had like a DVD in it that would teach you how to play the game based off of the cards that were included in your starter deck there, your theme deck. It was actually a really, really cool idea. Very cool item. There's no booster packs in this one at all. And then we have Double Crisis as the next one. So again, you're looking at about a year and a half has passed now from the Kalo starter deck, starter set until the next specialty set release. So it was just main series sets that came out at that time throughout, basically throughout the entirety of Black and White and X and Y. You only had a couple specialty sets that came out until Double Crisis came out on March 25th, 2015. Now, again, a small set, only 34 cards that were available in this set, and this one did come out in booster packs. It was not available in any other form except booster packs, and they were basically like double packs. So they were blisters that came out. Each card had seven booster packs in it, but this was the first time where they really started putting chase cards in a specialty set. So if you look back at Dragon Vault, it was filled with just holographic rares, and if you look at the starter decks, the Kalo starter sets, there wasn't any chase cards in here. Here is how the Double Crisis booster packs look. So there was you got a pin, you got a Team Magma pin or a Team Aqua pin, you got a coin, and then you got 4 booster packs. Only 7 cards in each set. Very, very small, but there were chase cards in the set, which makes things very, very different. Here's the Double Crisis booster pack right here. Very expensive. At one point in time, there was also a trainer card in the set, a stadium card. I forget the exact name of it. Team Magma Secret Base, I think is what it was called. That was very expensive, $12, $13, $14, because it was so necessary to play in the competitive game, but not a lot of people were cracking Double Crisis booster packs because there wasn't a whole lot of interest in that set. But if you look at how the booster packs are doing now, they're doing extremely well, basically sitting at a 1-year high at this current point. It's sitting at $60.48, which is just off of where it was last year at this time. It was at $63.80. It fell down to $53.42 as its 1-year low. But here are the big cards in this set. So you've got Team Aqua's Kyogre EX, and you've got Team Magma's Groudon EX. This was the first time Pokemon put chase cards in a specialty set. And look at how they're performing. They're doing extremely well. Not used in competitive play, but just because of the collector value, because of the rarity that people think is behind them, they have gone up quite a bit over the past year. Obviously, the Team Aqua Kyogre EX is sitting at $91.85. That's just off of its 1-year high, which it hit back in July, August, $94.70. But you're looking at about $17 above where it was. So almost 20% that it's gained over 6 months of time. It was at $77.04. The Groudon a little bit better, doing a little bit better as far as the percentage that it gained, and it did the majority of that at the beginning of 2023 when it went from $63.19 in February of last year, jumped up over the span of a couple months all the way up to that $88.59 1-year high. Now it's been very flat since then, sitting at $85.68 currently, but those are the 2 chase cards from that set. Then we move on, and you've got another year that passes before the specialty set comes out, and here's our first anniversary set. So this is the 20th anniversary set called Generations. This was really the first time where double bangers kind of became a thing, because you had the Radiant collection, and then you had the potential of a normal EX or a normal hit. This was released on February 22nd of 2016, and this was the first time where Pokemon took a specialty set and basically made it very similar to a main series set release. You had 115 cards in this set, so over 3 times bigger than their biggest specialty set so far. This was only available in booster packs and Elite Trainer boxes. No booster boxes, but this is the first time that an ETB was included, and then you had a bunch of collection boxes that came along with it. This was also the second ever Radiant collection set. Obviously, we had the one from Legendary Treasures, but here is all the different collection boxes that were available for Generations. A lot of really cool products that were out there. You can see all the mythical collections, and then you've got a few of the bigger boxes, the premium collection boxes like Venusaur, Pikachu, Charizard, and Blastoise, and then you have a bunch of mythical Pokemon right there. And then the heavy hitter, the big one, is obviously the Elite Trainer box at the top there. You can see that one settling right now at about $650, which is pretty insane. $659.67, a little bit off of its 1-year high of $750, but well above its 1-year low of $580, which it hit in August of 2023. The booster pack for Generations, this was again a normal booster pack. This did better than what they did in the past as far as, 5-card booster packs, 7-card booster packs. Now they go up to a normal size because it was very similar to what they did with Legendary Treasures when the Radiant collection came out, because you had the opportunity for those double bangers. Not a whole lot of movement on this booster pack, only about 10% over the past year. But you can see moving up, up, up. And then in July of 2023, it hit that one-year high of $44.83 before crashing down in December, dropping about 10% to $40.81, and then starting to move up again, sitting at $43.82 currently. Here are the big hitters in generations. You've got the Mega Charizard EX, and you've got the Full Art Flareon EX. The Full Art Flareon is from the Radiant Collection subset of the set, where the Mega Charizard is just from the normal set. So it's possible that you could theoretically pull both of these in the same booster pack. The Mega Charizard moved up the majority of 2023 up until about September, where it hit that one-year high of $63.40. And then over the next couple of months, like what we saw from a lot of the market where things fell apart, dropped all the way down to $49.65, almost lost 20% over the span of a couple months. Now it's gained a little bit of that back, but only about 10%. It's sitting at $52.56 currently. Then you've got the Full Art Flareon EX. This one did extremely well, not during release because it was a fairly common pull because it was part of that Radiant Collection, but during the pandemic really started gaining a whole lot of steam. And you can see from February up until about August, it grew quite a bit, jumped up to $49.37 before backing off and falling back down, getting closer and closer to that one-year low of $27.22. Now it's hovering at $34.72 currently, so still closer to its one-year low than its one-year high. Then you've got another year and a half that passes before the release of their next specialty set, which is Shining Legends. And this is when Pokemon was like, okay, well, I think we should start pumping out these specialty sets a little bit more frequently. So this one was released in October 6th of 2017. There were 78 cards in this set, so a little bit smaller than Generations, but the first time where they really took a stab at doing the Elite Trainer boxes and booster collection boxes for a set that wasn't an anniversary set. This was the first specialty set that released where they just did a kind of a normal release. Return of Shining Pokemon. We hadn't seen Shining Pokemon since Neo Destiny, and all of a sudden you had Shining Ho-Oh, you had Shining Celebi, you had Shining Volcanion, a lot of Shining movies that came back, and this was the Japanese set release to coincide with the 20th Pokemon movie. So the 20th Pokemon movie that ever released, that's when Shining Legends came out in Japan. The Elite Trainer box has done very poorly over the past year. You can see at one point in time it was sitting at $318.76. This booster, or this Elite Trainer box, was readily available all over the place, all the way up until a couple years ago. It was on clearance shelves. It was crazy how many of these got produced, but I don't think Pokemon knew what they had and how many to produce, which is why it has done so poorly over the past year. But $318.76, and it's dropped all the way down to $265.46, and it's sitting basically right there right now. So it's lost quite a bit of steam over the past year. Booster packs haven't done as poorly. They've been relatively consistent, about a 20% difference, but up and down throughout the year. In February of 2023, it was sitting at a one-year low of $24.65, jumped up to that one-year high, gained about 30% over the course of a couple months, jumped up to $29.58, and then fell back down in September, close to that one-year low at about $25. Now it's moved back up, sitting at $28.35 currently. Here are the big cards in the set. You've got the Mewtwo, the test tube, if you want to call it that, the Mewtwo GX, very cool looking card. Basically gone up all year long. It fell down a little bit between the months of August and December, but everything was down in the market at that time. In February of 2023, it was sitting at $80.61 as its one-year low, started going up quite a bit, hit that one-year high of $131.49 in August before coming back down to about $100, and now it's gained a lot of that back. It's jumped up about 15% over the past couple months. It's sitting at $121.78 currently. And then you've got the Rainbow Rare Mewtwo GX. That one has been going down consistently. It stayed relatively flat for the most part in 2023, but then once December hit, the bottom kind of fell out. It dropped from $67.16 as its one-year high all the way down to $52.27. Then we got Dragon Majesty, which released in September 7th of 2018. There were 17 cards in the set. The set symbol on this one is actually the letter D to stand for Dragon, a little bit different of a set symbol than we're used to. Here's the Elite Trainer box on this for this one. Pokemon printed less of these than they did for the Shining Legends one because they could tell, not as popular. Okay, don't print as many as what we did. They learned from their mistakes, which is why supply is a little bit lower right now, and you continue to have Dragon Majesty Elite Trainer boxes going up and up, despite the fact that the cards inside, the contents inside, not quite as valuable as like what we saw from Shining Legends or Generations. In February of 2023, this was sitting at $338.61. Basically, very consistent, slow growth for the majority of 2023 until September. That's when it kind of jumped up quite a bit. Hit that one-year high of $402.59 before backing off a little bit. Still sitting at $380.59 currently. Then you've got the Dragon Majesty Booster Pack, which has gone up very consistently throughout the year in a down market. This booster pack has done extremely well. You can see it sitting at $33.50 53 at its 1-year low in February of 2023, spent the entirety of 2023 trending in the upward direction, hit $43.89 recently as a 1-year high. It's backed off barely, sitting at $43.65 currently. There are two big cards in the set. The Ultra Necrozma Gold card. This was the second either second or third time these gold cards kind of made an appearance. I forget where this released, coinciding with Ultra Prism, but Ultra Necrozma GX spent the majority of 2023 trending in the upward direction, hit $86.36 in September before backing off. Now it's dropped quite a bit. It's lost almost 20% over the past couple months. It's sitting at $72.94 currently as a 1-year low. And then we've got the Zinnia right there, the full art Zinnia. This one also trended up the majority of 2023 until September, hit that 1-year high of $80.53. Now it's lost about $15 since then, sitting at $65.80, still about $10 above its 1-year low, which I hit in February of 2023, but definitely moving in the wrong direction. That was the last specialty set released before Hidden Fates, and Hidden Fates is really where they really found something, and I figured I would record up to this point or talk about the specialty sets up to this point, because once Hidden Fates released, that's when Pokemon was like, okay, we've got something, let's start pumping these out like crazy. So Hidden Fates came out not even a year after Dragon Majesty. It came out in August of 2019, so about 10 months after the release of Dragon Majesty, and after that they really started pumping out all these specialty sets. So that starts begging the question that I asked earlier in the video, was how much is too much? Are we at a point right now where there are too many specialty sets they need to cut back, maybe do 1 a year, maybe do 3 main series or 4 main series and then 1 specialty set, because it is becoming very overwhelming for a lot of collectors? Are you okay sacrificing your pull rates to go back to less set releases, so that way it gives you more time to try and complete these sets? And I thought it would be interesting to look at how these specialty sets evolved over the past several years, 2012 being the first time that Pokemon instilled the release of those specialty sets, and they only had a handful of them all the way up until 2019 when Hidden Fates came out, and then things started going nuts after that. So I thought it would be really interesting. If you think it's interesting, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm, but regardless, thank you guys so much for just being here. Love you guys. I really appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Until next time, peace.